Patrick Daly here. Welcome to episode number 7 of For the Week That's In It. So today I wanted to talk to you about failure, or maybe more accurately about apparent failure. So as well as my interest in business and supply chain, I'm quite passionate about history, geography and current affairs. And I'm a fan of a podcast called The Rest is History, which is presented by the historians Tom Holland and Dominic Sandbrook. And in a recent episode, Dom and Tom were interviewing Professor Christopher Clark, who's an expert on the revolutions that swept across Europe in 1848. Now, these are a set of revolutions that you may never have heard of, and that's not surprising really, because by all accounts they were a universal failure, because the revolutionaries of 1848, who were liberals and nationalists, they failed to topple the monarchies and the empires that dominated Europe from Sicily to Saxony and from Prussia to Paris at that time. And the revolutionaries wound up quite disappointed, disillusioned, dejected, and in many cases, tragically, they even lost their lives. And yet within 25 to 50 years after the revolutions, the ideas and the currents that they put forward, such as participative democracy, economic rights, the nation state, and freedom of the press, had become mainstream and are still essential elements of our liberal democracies today, 175 years later. So were they really a failure? Maybe not. And similarly in business, although less dramatically and over much shorter time spans, I often find clients of mine impatient with their business, with their staff, even with themselves, and their ability to make the changes that they need, that they know they need and that they want to make. And they feel frustrated and they feel like they're failing. And yet, if I can get them to look back at where they've come from, at what they really have already achieved, look at the things that they now take for granted that only a short time ago seemed out of reach, it changes their perception greatly. It ignites energy. It kind of creates renewed forward momentum, and they realize that there's actually no failure, no need for frustration. There's only the ebb and the flow of change. It tacks this way and that, but it never stops, never ceases. Change is an improvement. Change and improvement is a journey rather, and at any moment you can stop, you can take stock, you can re-energize, and you can move forward, even in a slightly different direction. And I think it's a good idea to reflect on this frequently, to maintain energy and momentum, maybe even on a daily basis. And this will help to stave off frustration, that sense of apparent failure. And you just have to look at where you've come from. So onwards and upwards. I'll see you back here next week for some more tips and insights on For the Week That's In It. Take care.